Hi, morning everyone. Welcome to the channel. Thank you so much for tuning in to the Think Nursing channel, where we're discussing everything related to nursing, travel, and lifestyle. And if you haven't, been here before, welcome. And if you are an already subscriber to the channel, big up yourself and thank you so much for tuning in. So today it is Thursday and I am heading in for work. Yes, I am heading in for work to see some patients. I am hoping that I don't have to work tomorrow. Yeah, I don't feel like I want to work tomorrow. So I'm gonna see about 15 patients will make my quota for the week in terms of my goal for seeing patients. All right, if you haven't subscribed as yet, as I said, go ahead and subscribe to the channel, turn that notification bell on, all right, so you can be notified whenever I have uploaded a new video. All right, so this morning I got up around 6 o'clock, was trying to do some notes. The notes I did yesterday, or the patients I saw yesterday, wasn't able to complete that because I got a little bit distracted by some things, and was trying to do an edit on a video that I wanted to upload regarding DEA, but I never got a chance to finish that as well because I had to get my son ready for school. All right, so I am just leaving home, and my drive time is 47 minutes, and as usual, even though it's 9 o'clock, you're expecting that the traffic would probably kind of ease up a bit. No, the traffic still turn up on the road because it is saying that it's in the red, so that means it's gonna be a little bit congested in terms of the traffic. We're going to be talking a few things as we go along, just to burn some time and also get some information out to you guys as well. So I know a few persons have been asking questions regarding immigration and nurse practitioner, things like that. I will do videos that will focus on different topics. I haven't gotten a chance to respond to any of the comments that I saw yesterday or since this week that much, so I will definitely answer your questions in a video, as I say, and then hopefully you'll get the information there. But remember, feel free to go ahead and share any concerns or comments you have, or any questions you have that you want me to answer, and I'll do that. One person was asking about, like nurse practitioner continuing education hours. Do I need, or do they need to sign up for any if I have done that? No, I never signed up for any online. Well, I did sign up for CE credits. I think that was it. I'm going to look up the name, but it's if you're a nurse practitioner, I'm sure if you're probably a doctor, then you should be able to get, get continuing education hours there. So you just pay a small amount of money, and based on the course, you can go ahead and pay for it. They have subscription packages as well if you are interested in that. There is also a setup in place where, say for example, you're in the state of Texas, you're in California, it makes it a little bit easier in terms of what is required for you, in terms of if you're practicing as a gerontology nurse practitioner, if you're practicing as a registered nurse. So it gives you packages that are more specific to your area of work, so that way you can go ahead and get your continuing education hours done. After you finish with it, then it usually gives you a certificate to show that you did this, and you also get you get a PDF file as well regarding the courses, and it automatically sends it over to the board of nursing wherever you are based. So yes, you can sign up for that website, but there wasn't anything that was mandatory. If you're at a facility that offers like continuing education courses, especially for nurses, then you can always use those hours towards your relicensing process. So always just get those certificates printed out and save them, so that way just in the event that you decide to leave that hospital, you have access to them in terms of the hard copy. But you're not really required to sign up with any online platform to get your continuing education hours. Another question I saw was, one person wanted to ask about the money that I got during college. So I told a story where, you know, when I was in college, I was getting like, say, $250 Jamaican dollars, that is, for school. And that was in like 2009, 2008, 2007. Yes, thereabout, you know. So at the time it was 3 of us that were going to college, and so as I say, we never really had much money, and so my mom, whatever she had, she would normally just send it. But a lot of times, you know, when we get our $250, we will normally save it, because how we were able to survive otherwise was so because it was 3 of us going to college, it was just cheaper when we looked at, you know, the cost for taxi fare. It was just cheaper to rent an apartment in the town, which was closest to the university. And so we did that. It was a one bedroom we had rented, and it had a bathroom and a kitchen. So we did that, and 3 of us were living there. So we had 2 beds, and we were, you know, at that time, you know, you don't have to think about anything like, you know, persons were just watching or saying, oh, whatever. No, just imagine when you're on dorm, you still hook up with your roommates, you know, you sleep on the same bed sometimes, especially when you come on to studying time. So it was no different for my sisters and myself, 3 of us in one little room, you know, and we had 2 beds. One was a little bit bigger and the other one was a small bed, but we lived there, and that's how we were able to, you know, save on some of the money that we would have to be spending on housing and taxi fare. So as I said, when we get our $250, we normally save it, because at that time we're not we don't have money. We never have money, so we just save it, and in the event that, you know, it starts raining, then that's when it is being used. All right, let me get my gas tank fill up, and then I'll come back and finish this story with you. All right, so I just got my tank filled up. All right, so yes, so as I was saying regarding the money story now, so we were getting the $250. So as I say, we were renting a place, and that's how, you know, we could actually save on some costs when you really when it comes on to apartment and housing for the 3 of us while we're going to university. So with the $300 or the $250, all right, so just imagine, you know, when you get, like, say for example, if we get $1,000 or if we get $500, then we would go ahead and when we get the $250 or the $500, we'll go ahead and just, you know, decide on, okay, then so we have 3 of us here, or 2 of us, you know, who is actually doing classes late. So we decide that, okay, depending on, you know, whoever is gonna be coming from school late or university late, then we'll decide on, you know, that person using the money first. So we'll just save the money, and then we'll decide based on, you know, different factors. Sometimes what we'll do is we'll wait on each other when coming from school, so that way it's easier for us to actually walk home, because, you know, the journey was probably like, say, about a 15 minutes walk or 20 minutes walk, but the area was you have to be careful. It wasn't like, say, it's not like a dangerous to the point where you're thinking about persons going to be hurting, but, you know, because it's a university, there is always the risk of, you know, robberies. So that was just something you have to be mindful of. At that time as well, when we're getting the $250, as I say, it's only whenever we had situations where it's raining heavily that we will definitely use that money. Or say, for example, we definitely left school very late, then we'll go ahead and you know, get a taxi to go home. But for majority of the time, even if it's raining, we will still walk and just take the longer route around on the main road rather than taking the shortcut. You know, the shortcut full of red dirt and grass and all them stuff there. Yes, we'll normally walk through that side and then head home to where we're living. But for the most important thing for us at the time, it was more, you know, making sure that the rent was paid, and electricity bill was paid. Water was included in the rent as well, so that was good. And as I said, we never really had to think about, you know, drive time or traffic or anything like that, or, you know, travel time to school, because it was walking distance. While I was in college, I also was working, but, you know, I was doing a nursing program. It's a private institution I was going to for my nursing program. So even though I had you know, applied for student loan and I had gotten the student loan, there are certain things that you still have to pay out of pocket. So whatever I work, and it wasn't like, say, I was working a lot of money. You know, just imagine you're working as a student, you know, you're not making a lot of money while you're doing that. You're just making it enough to kind of supplement certain things, you know. And so I was working for almost 3.5 years, or I would say probably the entire time I was going to college, because even if I, you know, was working during the work week when I was going to classes, you know, like on Fridays when we have like downtime or any little thing, then I would normally go ahead and still do some hours just to make, you know, an extra money so we can have it for either food or something like that, or for the summer. There was also times when we have there was a gentleman from my church as well who was very, you know, involved in a lot of things that we were doing, and he would normally help us out. I never really was in the habit of, like, you know, asking. It was only situations like, definitely if I know that, so for example, when I was in Kingston, and at that time I wasn't able to move around without having additional funds, because I remember when I was in Kingston campus, where, you know, so our program at the time, my nursing program, we had to do 2 locations. We had to do the main campus, and then you have to move into the Kingston area so you can get access to other locations that were busier for, you know, clinical rotation. And so at that time, I know when I was in college, or the Kingston campus there, you know, it was the same thing. My mom never really had much money, and so whatever she had, she would normally send it. And as I say in one of my videos, if you haven't checked that video out, you know, please remember to go ahead and check it out. And remember to like, share, and subscribe to the channel, and turn that notification bell on. All right, remember to do that, and give it a thumbs up if you're enjoying the content, please. All right, but as I said, when I was in the Kingston campus, at that time, you know, taxi fare from one location was like, say, $300 to $400, and my mom usually sent like, say, $500, because there were 2 other children that were going to college at the main campus, and they were at the house that we had rented. How I survived in Kingston, it was more of my uncle. There was an uncle of mine that was in overseas, and he assisted with, you know, paying for my dorm. And during that same time period, even though I was in Kingston campus as well, on Sunday or on Fridays, my word, on Fridays, I would still go ahead and do some extra hours. So sometimes even if it's 4 hours, I would still go ahead and work 4 hours, because 4 hours on a Friday is still better than no hours at all. So I would normally go in and work on a Friday, you know, on campus, the main campus, and then walk home afterwards. But yeah, so she would normally send that $500, and when she sent the $500, as I say, it was more of, you know, just to keep it until it was the right time to use it. So my right time to use it was always whenever I have clinicals, and whenever I needed to buy food, you know. So I would save up all of that money. Sometimes I remember when she would send like the $500, as I said before, she would send the $500, and I just keep it, because I don't want to use that money, you know, because I don't know if any more was gonna come, or if it was gonna be less, or if it was gonna be more, you know. So I was always just thinking about, you know, what if she never sent any? At least I still have this amount of money that is available to me. And some days it was more like, you know, my sister would send her money because she was walking to school. So even though probably she would have needed it, she knew that, you know, I needed it a little bit more than her, because I am in a place that I never had any family members, you know, nobody to really give me anything like that, You know, later on I met this lady who had helped out with, you know, like getting me food sometimes, you know, toothpaste and all those things, you know, when I was on the Kingston campus. But that's another story we'll leave for another time. But, you know, for the majority of the time, that was just how, you know, how things were for me. As I say, Coronation Market, if you know Coronation Market downtown, when I go to Coronation Market downtown on a Friday evening to buy things, it was more of, you know, me buying things like ackee, because I know that ackee come in like, you know, pods of 3, you know, so it was me buying things that will work out, you know, for days. So when I buy like ackee and all, I know that you have 3 pods of ackee. I buy 1 dozen ackee, that's enough ackee and sawfish for days. I normally cook and dish out my food. So the same thing you call now the fancy, what you call it now? They call it meal prep. Yes, me a meal prep for a long time with my little ackee and yam. You understand? So I would normally do that with dumpling, cut up it and carry go to school. And it was a good thing that my school had microwave there for the students, you know, so I was able to microwave it. But otherwise, you know, that's how I was able to survive a lot of times, because of the food that I cook. Every now and again I might, you know, buy food because I might have extra money, and it wasn't really say extra money, but you know, sometimes you just tired of your own food. You just decide that you want to get something different. So depending on when we do the maths and the maths work out well, if it's a case I can buy a food, and at that time, you know, you're probably buying a food for $200 for a large meal. So, and if you look at it now, a meal back in Jamaica is costing almost $1,500 depending on what you're buying, you know. So $200 at that time, you know, it was okay. Wasn't really okay on my pocket, but the pricing at that time, I'm just trying to let you know that it was okay at that time. So yeah, so that was it. So I did a lot of cooking in college, and I also work and study, as I said before. That was my main thing. Prior to starting college, I'd started out with, you know, working on campus, because as I say, I never really knew what I was going to be doing or how I was going to be able to pay for my college expenses, because I never really had any money, you know, like that, because the only thing I knew was, you know, my parents, we did farming, you know, rearing chicken, you know, and selling items at the market, or people would normally come and buy the things, and that was it, you know. There wasn't anybody who had put any plans in place to say, you know, this is for tuition or this is for college. You know, it was more of, you know, you live and you make a money, and that was it. So when I had started, well, at least when I saw all these persons at my school or at my church going to university, that was just something that I wanted to do one way or the other. And the first thing I hear was, you know, the work program. So I just hopped onto the work program and started working. And then, you know, that's why I always tell people, you know, once you start something, you must finish it. You must finish it, because as you go, you learn as you go, and that's the most important thing. Because you see, once I apply and I hear that, okay, then you can get the job, you get the job on campus, and then you start seeing people, you start interacting with people, you start talking to people and hearing how different persons are paying for their university. And that's when you get other options available to you now to say, okay, then you can do this, you can do that, because somebody else is doing it or trying it. And so that was the same thing for me. You know, I was there just working, and then somebody told me about student loan, and then I went online and signed up for student loan, got through with student loan. Then after that, you know, I continued working. I was able to get my tuition paid, work, and let it work out in your favor. And you know, until then, you realize that you become a graduate. So for all the persons out there who is thinking that probably, you know, no is not the best time to go ahead and do a master's program, because you're already married, you have 5 kids out there, you know, you already feel stressed out, you don't know if you can do it. You know, once you put your mind to it and you think about what it is that you want to achieve out of it, you will learn as you go along, and you will make decisions that are going to be beneficial to you. You're going to find out that if you do it this way, you might do a little bit better than if you do it the other way. So just don't put up a blockade on it, the situation. Don't think of it that it's not something that is possible. There are other persons out there who have done it, still doing it, and you can be a part of the crew that is gonna be doing it. So don't think of it as a situation where you're not ready or you just cannot do it, because as I say, depending on your mindset, then it will work out in your favor if it is something that you really want to do. All right, so that's that.